pitching. So we're gonna do some snaps. So snaps are super important for pitchers. You'll do them every time you warm up, every time you throw. They're really good at focusing on your spins and where to release the ball. I have some different things in my hands. I have a regular ball with some tape on it, just so you can get I'm right-handed, sorry. Just so you can get a clear spin of the ball, so it's not like going lopsided, so you know you're spinning it the right way. I have a weighted ball, just so it's a little heavier, just so you can really get that snap in, and it makes you snap harder than you would with a normal ball. I have a big ball. This helps with just feeling where your release is and making it harder to snap, so when you actually go to the normal ball, it's easier. And then this is a spinner. So as you can see, there are seams on it. So there's 2 seams here, and then there's some wider seams here. So what you do is you just grab those seams like you normally would, and you just spin it. And you want it to stay flat. You don't want it to go all wonky and just like that. So right now we're just gonna focus on fastball. So for that, I throw a 4-seam fastball. You can also do 2. A 4, this tape ball is perfect for it because you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 seams. The tape is just around that. So when you spin it, the tape should be straight. A 2-seam, it'd be 1, 2, and then nothing on this side. So that'd be a 2-seam. So you'd hold it on those 2 seams and flip it that way. If you want tape for that one, you just have to put a new piece of tape around it. So for my fastball spins with the regular ball, it would just be, I hold my middle finger on the tape line, and then on the 4 seams, I just come right here, and I release right at my hip and just throw it into the wall or a catcher. So just like this. Make sure you line your hand up every time on that 4 seam, so you really get a good spin on it. Releasing at your hip every time, because that's what you'll do when you pitch fully. You can use a weighted ball. This one just really emphasizes your snap. So when you go back to the regular ball, it's that much harder. So it's the same thing. I do a 4-seam every time. Line it up on the 4 seams and just snap right at your hip. For a big ball, you'll do the same thing, line it up on the 4 seam, or you can look at the C, and I like to grab it right on that, and just release right at your hip. This one really helps with like just making sure you're actually releasing at your hip, not too early and then not too late. And then lastly, the spinner. For fastball, you'll have to hold it so your middle finger is on a seam, and then you'll just have to spin it like that because there's not a lot of surface area to hold it with all of your fingers. So it'll look just like this. You'll do the same thing, release right at your hip, and just spin it straight up. And your follow through on all of these will be straight up, touching your hand to your shoulder. So next we're going to do change-up spins. There's so many different ways to throw change-ups. It's really whatever you like to do. Personally, I always throw a 2-knuckle, so I'll get right on that C, the 4 seam, and I like to do this kind of 2-knuckle. You can also do this one. It's really personal preference. So I really just dig my nails into the seams and then just wrap my other fingers around the ball like that. There's also a circle change, so you just make a tight circle here and then grip the ball like that. There's a horseshoe where you hold it like this and let it go like that. There's a flip where they'll come around and flip it backwards. There's so many different ways. There's a 3-knuckle, there's a 4-knuckle. It's really personal preference and whatever you're most comfortable with. So for me, my 2-knuckle, I like to start off with a weighted ball. So I'll hold it the same every time on that C, my 2 knuckles, and then every finger around on the seams. And just like the fastball, we're going to start here and release right at our hip. And with the knuckle, you'll flick it to your catcher, or I have a mat. So look like this. tee-up, it's really important. You don't want the spin on it because the spin is what makes it fast. And so we're trying to eliminate as much spin as we can so it really slows it down, and so we have a really big speed difference between our fast pitches and our change-up. Next, I like to take the big ball just so I can really feel where I'm releasing at, because that's usually my problem, is I release it too early, so then the ball's going to be in the dirt every time I throw it. So holding it the same way on the tee, the 4 seams, my 2 knuckles, and just in the same thing, releasing right at my hips and really feeling it where it is with this big ball, into the mat or to a catcher. And lastly, I like to use my strike ball. The spin on it doesn't really matter because you don't really want a lot of spin. So you don't have to use a strike ball for this, but we use it for pretty much every pitch. So again, find that C, get my 2 knuckles, and same thing, same drill, right at the hip.